Okay, we just finished up here at Lake Murray. Actually had us a great event. Ended up 17th place. Was able to catch almost 17 pounds the first day. Caught 18-11 on day 2, and then on day 3 we caught 16-4. So just consistent. Had good days. Really just kind of put each day together. So my pattern really was to run around and try to find some active schooling fish in the morning. I didn't have any one place that was just like loaded with fish. I had to kind of like bounce around and find out where they were active that particular day. I had one point that I thought was going to be the mother lode, but man, it just did not pan out during the tournament. Really on those schooling places, I was throwing the kitchen sink at them, but I really caught most of my fish on 2 topwater baits that I want to show you. Had very similar setups here to these two. Had the first one was the Spro. Let me show you this a little better. The Spro walk-in haint 125. It is a big walk-in topwater bait, as you can see. That's the homemade shad. It is all beat up and all gnarled. Had the Gamakatsu G Finesse treble on the back. That's if the water had any kind of ripple to it, that's what I threw, because it's loud. As you can, it's a big bait. It walks real hard, almost like a pencil popper, kind of a hard walk. And then I had that on straight braid, Cash and Icon, 7-foot, medium heavy. That was the rod that I had it on. And then I had that on 50-pound Sunline PE AMZ 8. That is a slightly smaller diameter braid. So casting distance, we all know, is huge when we're talking about schooling fish. I could take that topwater and bomb it from here to next week. Just an absolute heave of a throw. That was what I threw when it was a little bit, a little bit of a chop on the water. If it slicked off and it got smooth, and I thought the fish needed something a little more subtle, I was throwing the old school Zero Spook right here. Had the the Gamakatsu trebles on it as well, and the exact same setup. It's the same rod, the same reel, same line, and had the reel on there. That's the Daiwa Tatula SVTW. That is a very good casting reel, and that was kind of my 1-2 punch for the topwater. I mixed in some swim baits, Carolina rig, shaky head, drop shot. I mixed in all kinds of stuff trying to get those fish. The fluke, I tried the fluke. I couldn't make it work for me, but those were kind of my topwater fish. So when that bite kind of subsided, I ran out and I started throwing the Missile Baits Magic Worm. I'll show you my setup on that. Was fishing anywhere from about 8 feet to 20 feet with a drop shot and using the live scope. And I was throwing the Missile Baits Magic Worm. That's Blueback Secret. This is a color that we'd kind of morphed in the past on a Robo worm, but then when we created these magic worms with Robo, we had them make this particular color, and it is really good on any kind of a blueback lake. Had a 1/4 ounce tungsten on there, and was just visually throwing at bass that we could see, near some type of cover, whether it was a rock, stump, brush pile, or sometimes they would just be kind of sitting there on the points, kind of like slowly moving around. But there's a lot of fish. There's a lot of bait fish in this lake, a lot of fish. So you had to kind of decipher through the stripers, the catfish, the bluegill, the crappie. I mean, there's all kind of fish on these points where those shad and the herring are congregated, and you really kind of had to decipher through all those. So that was part of that. But the rest of the setup here, I had my leader was Sunline Mabaroshi. I always say that backwards. Mabaroshi, 7-pound. It's got kind of the camouflage look to it, so that's kind of cool. But this is just a really sturdy leader. If you're around brush, stumps, whatever, it holds up very well. 7-pound. Trying to go a little bit lighter to get those fish to bite. I had that with a Gamakatsu G Finesse, that worm hook that is so deadly. The 2-aught is the size there. And then I had that too. I went old school. The X Plasma 12-pound Sunline. That's what I had on there. on the Daiwa ballistic reel. And then obviously the Icon drop shot rod 7.4 has that real soft tip, counterbalanced weight is just, it is the deal for doing that. So that's really my 1-2 punch. I threw a Neko rig on some of those deeper fish. I didn't catch any keepers in the tournament. I did catch a keeper on a Carolina rig. That was basically it. I had some other rods. I had some shallow bedfish that I had found, but all those bedfish that were in pockets, gone. They were all gone, every single one of them. The water didn't go down, it went up, which was kind of odd that all of those fish would leave. But there were still bedfish to be caught, but you just had to find new ones during the tournament. I did not commit to that because I was able to ride the schooling fish to be able to catch some fish in the morning. And then I was catching some more quality fish with that drop shot setup, scoping out there. But man, it was just a really slow bite. Like it didn't progress real quickly. You weren't catching, 20 keepers. I wasn't anyway. I was only catching 3, 4, 5 fish, per half of a day at best. And but we would get some quality mixed in with that. But that was my tournament here at Lake Murray. You have any other suggestions? No, I did not throw the Jackal riser. I knew about that. I didn't have the confidence, hadn't caught a bunch of fish on it, and wish I'd have maybe mixed that in there a little bit. But I felt like what I had was a pretty high percentage of bite ratio and hook up and get the fish in. You miss a lot of these fish that they're schooling. It's crazy. They're not always keyed in and eating the bait as well as they should have or could have. So that makes it a little bit tougher as well. But here we go, 17th place. We're gonna keep trying to finish strong the rest of the year. So just stay tuned, and I appreciate everybody watching as always.